One of the most common questions I get as an advisor is how much do I need to retire? In today's video, I'm going to walk you through whether your savings are behind for retirement in 2025, according to recent data, and how you can get ahead of most people. Let's get right into it. Have you ever opened up a financial article or clicked on a video titled something like, "Are you behind on retirement?" or "Why you need at least $1 million to retire?" If you have, you're not alone, and you're probably feeling anxious about it. Today, I'm unpacking why these headlines might be causing unnecessary stress and confusion about your retirement. Everywhere you look in financial media, online calculators, or even conversations with your friends, you're bombarded with seemingly authoritative numbers. Something like, save 48 times your salary by a certain age, or set aside at least $1 million by retirement. On the surface, these targets sound pretty logical. They feel like clear goals that we can easily understand, but here's the truth. They're often oversimplified and misleading. These retirement numbers are pervasive. They're repeated so often that it's easy to believe that they're the universal standard for everyone to use. And this constant repetition creates anxiety. Suddenly you're questioning your savings, your strategy, and your complete readiness for retirement, all because you're measuring yourself against some sort of generic benchmark. But here's what's rarely said. Retirement isn't a one-size-fits-all endeavor. Your life isn't generic, so why should your savings targets be that way? These benchmarks fail to consider some crucial factors like your lifestyle goals, your personal health, your family obligations, your housing situation, or even your planned location in your retirement. In reality, the amount you need depends far more on how you plan to spend your retirement than it does on any sort of arbitrary number that you come across. Your retirement readiness isn't determined by a generalized figure. It's determined by your personal vision, your circumstances, and your goals. Remember, your retirement story is uniquely yours, and I'm here to help you write it confidently. Now, we've addressed why media-driven retirement targets create anxiety, but let's dive into some real-world numbers. Understanding where people actually stand can help shift perspective from one of worry to some practical action. Let's take a look at what real Americans have saved according to the Federal Reserve data from 2022. Current median retirement savings vary significantly by age. All of these numbers are for couples. So couples aged 35 to 44 have saved approximately $86,000. Couples aged 45 to 54, $161,000. Couples aged 55 to 64, $232,000. Now, these figures might surprise you, especially when you compare them to those commonly cited benchmarks, like saving $1 million or saving 48 times your salary by the time you need to retire. Clearly, there's a substantial gap. For instance, if you're in your mid-50s and see recommendations suggesting savings of over $500,000 by now, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or perpetually behind. This persistent sense of inadequacy can lead to stress, paralysis, and even complete avoidance of planning altogether. Nobody wants to spend time talking about how much they haven't saved. But here's the reality. Recent economic challenges like market volatility, inflation, and changing job markets have widened these gaps out even further, making the benchmarks feel even more unattainable. But here's something critical to keep in mind. These idealized targets often fail to reflect individual financial situations, their spending habits, or retirement goals. Comparing your unique circumstances to generalized benchmarks can mislead rather than guide you. Instead of focusing on how far you might seem from these arbitrary benchmarks, a healthier approach is to evaluate your personal situation and build a realistic plan tailored specifically to your goals and your needs. What if I told you that precise adjustments in your assumptions could dramatically change your retirement outlook, sometimes by hundreds of thousands of dollars? I'm going to uncover the exact mathematical precision behind personalized retirement planning and explore the quantifiable impact of aligning your savings with real-life circumstances. You might be surprised just how substantial these adjustments can be. I've explored the gap between commonly cited retirement savings benchmarks and real-world savings. But here is the critical insight. The issue isn't with savers, it's with the benchmarks themselves. This issue has a name: the retirement benchmark fallacy. It's the idea that generic retirement savings targets systematically overstate the amount most people need. These benchmarks might sound authoritative, but they are deeply misleading. So why do these benchmarks fail? Primarily, it's because they're based on assumptions that don't reflect the complexity and variability of individual lives. Generalized targets consistently ignore differences in spending, lifestyle expectations, and geographic cost of living, family obligations, and even personal priorities. Another important aspect is how these benchmarks inherently ignore economic realities, such as recent market fluctuations, inflation, and unpredictable financial events. They encourage unrealistic comparisons that don't serve any real purpose other than serving as clickbait for article headlines. Here's the truth. Retirement planning should be personal and precise, not generalized and exaggerated. Your financial life and retirement goals are uniquely yours, and your planning should reflect that individuality. Imagine clearly understanding how close or how far you are from retirement readiness based on your personal timeline and your goals. What opportunities might you gain by knowing exactly which factors matter most for your retirement? Let's uncover exactly how translating this precise, personalized analysis into practical steps can transform your retirement outlook. Retirement readiness is determined by 5 data-driven factors that matter far more than any arbitrary savings target. The first critical factor is your spending pattern, not just your income. Your retirement needs aren't determined by how much you earn, but by how much you actually spend. For example, 2 individuals, each earning $100,000 a year, can have vastly different retirement needs based purely on their lifestyle. Somebody spending $40,000 a year will need substantially less saved than someone spending $80,000 a year. Second, Social Security optimization plays a significant role. When and how you claim Social Security can dramatically affect your required savings. For instance, delaying your benefits from age 62 to 70 can increase your monthly payment by as much as 76%. Optimizing your claim strategy can substantially reduce the savings you'll otherwise need. But depending on your situation, it can be a great decision to begin collecting at 62 if it aligns with your goals. The third factor to consider is the length of your retirement or your retirement duration. Simply put, planning for a 20-year retirement requires far fewer resources than planning for a 30-year retirement. Even a few years can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars more or less required in savings. The reality is that early retirement starting in your 50s requires substantially more assets than beginning your retirement in your late 60s. The fourth factor to consider is tax efficiency. How your retirement income is taxed can drastically affect how long your savings will last. Strategic withdrawals from tax-advantaged accounts combined with thoughtful investment strategies can significantly extend the longevity of your savings, potentially by several years. If you have a significant portion of your investable assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs or 401ks, taxes can be a huge drag on your cash flow, and early planning and Roth conversions can save you substantial amounts over the course of your retirement. Lastly, your housing decision profoundly impacts retirement readiness. Whether you own your home outright, have mortgage obligations, plan to downsize, or choose to relocate to a more affordable region, each scenario significantly changes your required savings. I have several clients who chose to move closer to their grandchildren when they retired, but the cost of living and housing is not uniform across the US, and accounting for differences makes a substantial difference in your overall retirement planning. By focusing on these 5 factors, you can move beyond misleading benchmarks and accurately pinpoint your true retirement needs. But how exactly do we put these critical factors together into a clear, actionable plan? I'm going to introduce a powerful framework, one that provides a fundamentally different approach to determine your true retirement readiness and clarify your actual retirement picture. The truth is, generic benchmarks aren't designed for your unique life. They're averages, rules of thumb that rarely align with your personal goals, values, and realities. Your path to retirement isn't a competition against others. It's about clearly defining what you truly need and what you want for yourself and your family. This approach is called the Personal Retirement Readiness Formula. Unlike the old way, which focuses solely on vague total savings and numbers, your personal formula zeroes in on your specific retirement income gap, the difference between your expected retirement expenses and your guaranteed sources of income. It replaces uncertainty with that of clarity. Here are the 5 essential components of your personal retirement readiness formula. Number 1, your desired lifestyle. Clearly defining the kind of life you envision in your retirement. Not just the financial basics, but the activities, the experiences, the travel, and any legacy desires you have. Remember, the entire goal of this is to create the life you want. So write down all the goals you have, and then we can craft a plan to meet them. Number 2, guaranteed income sources. Accurately account for your Social Security, any pensions, annuity, and other reliable income streams that directly will offset expenses in retirement. 3, expense analysis. A realistic, detailed breakdown of your anticipated costs, factoring in changes over different stages of your retirement. Most people underestimate how much they spend, so accurately detailing your spending is a critical step in the retirement process. Number 4, account for inflation and longevity planning. Adjustments to ensure your plan accounts for rising costs over time and the likelihood of a long, healthy life. Inflation has been running well above average for several years, and not accounting for future inflation will quickly erode your savings. Number 5, your investment and saving strategy. A tailored approach designed specifically to bridge your retirement income gap. Investing should never be a one-size-fits-all approach. Your portfolio should be designed for you, not the 500 other clients your advisor has, but optimized to achieve your income goals. By embracing this needs-based approach, you're free from constantly feeling inadequate or behind. Instead of chasing some vague target, you'll have a clear, actionable path forward. Imagine waking up confident, knowing exactly where you stand and precisely what you need to do. That's the power of your personal retirement readiness formula. But how exactly do you apply this framework to your own situation? Let's dive into specific techniques and powerful insights to illustrate exactly how you can put this formula to work and experience genuine retirement confidence. Now that you understand the power of the personal retirement readiness formula, it's time to translate that clarity into actionable steps. Let's walk through exactly how you can apply this personalized approach at different stages in your life. The first step is to define your retirement lifestyle very clearly. Start by envisioning the specifics. Will you travel extensively? Are you going to downsize your home? Will you need to support family financially? Or perhaps you want to pursue those hobbies that you've been putting off. The earlier you can accomplish this first step, the better. The longer the runway we have to plan your retirement, the more opportunity to make adjustments to accomplish your goals. Your goals guide all of the decisions that we make for you. It would be impossible for us to create a plan without considering them for each step along the way. Step 2. Identify your guaranteed income sources. Clearly document your expected Social Security, pensions, annuities, rental income, or any other guaranteed streams of income. Everybody cares about Social Security, and for good reason. Optimizing when you decide to take it can greatly transform your retirement. If you take it too early, you'll put premature stress on your investable assets. But take it too late, and you're giving up too much income when you need it. Step 3, conduct a detailed expense analysis. Break down your monthly and annual retirement expenses, including housing, healthcare, leisure, travel, and any family support. This should include both recurring expenses and any one-time lump sum withdrawals that you expect, like large trips or housing remodels, for example. A great way to accomplish this is through a financial planning software. I currently use Right Capital. You can simply link your bank account to the software, and your monthly expenses will be uploaded and analyzed. Then adjustments can be made to expenses you don't expect that will continue during your retirement. It is a great way to see how much you're spending on each individual category, and it provides a realistic estimate of your retirement expenses. Step 4, adjust for inflation and longevity. Incorporate realistic inflation rates and longevity estimates to ensure your financial resources will remain sufficient over your retirement. This really is the brilliance of the financial plan, having the ability to make adjustments and forecast the results years down the road. In addition, it also provides a realistic range of what your assets will look like years in the future. Step 5, tailor your investment and your saving strategy. Develop an investment strategy specifically designed to fill your personal retirement income gap. Your portfolio shouldn't be blindly invested in a fixed set of assets because that's what a risk questionnaire says. Your portfolio should be tailored to your unique needs to meet the goals you laid out in the beginning of the process. If your lifestyle and circumstances change, then your portfolio might need to be adjusted to reflect it. The focus of your personal retirement readiness plan varies greatly depending upon where you are in relation to your planned retirement date. Some examples: if you are mid-career, say your age is 40 to 55, you need to focus on your savings and your growth-oriented investments to close any identified gaps in planning. These are the years where you should still be focused on maximizing the growth of your investments, and your asset allocation is really key to this. If you're in that pre-retirement age, from 55 to 62, you need to focus on optimizing your guaranteed income sources, refining any sort of expense projections in your retirement, and fine-tuning your asset allocation to meet that projected income gap. Special focus should be given to planning for a tax-efficient portfolio withdrawal rate during your retirement. And if you're in retirement, regularly reassess your income and your expenses. Adjust your withdrawal strategy as needed to ensure it is within the spending guardrails laid out in the beginning of the process. And you need to manage your investments to sustain your lifestyle on an inflation-adjusted basis. By applying the personal retirement readiness formula, you'll clearly see how vastly outcomes can differ from standard benchmarks. Your retirement readiness directly hinges upon your exact situation. That's why it's important to consider your personal lifestyle when planning for the future. So if you're concerned about where you stand for retirement, click the first link in the description below and fill out the quick questionnaire that I put together. After that, I'll send you a video breaking down your plan with saving strategies to help you retire on time. And with that, I will see you on the next one.